And we're back
Yes, we are.
for another episode of Let's chill for a moment. After eating, we're full, right? So we don't want to make a mess. We don't want to drop our beverages. Finish a little coffee here. So we observe ourselves, but without too much intention. This is how we're going to start now. And we're going to talk about what happened earlier today. Weird stuff happened. Einstein said that if what he's discovered in the quantum world is real, it's the end of science, because spooky stuff happens in the quantum realm. So that's his, it's not word for word, but like 97% of the words for word, because some people heard it and it's kind of that. So spooky thing happens. That's the official declaration of his opinion of the quantum world, where the world of the mechanical world, which is the manifested mass and where we live in, and the quantum, which is everything exists as one and as potential, but not necessarily manifest. So in the quantum world, everything exists in all possible outcome at once, but only one will densify and become mechanical. And when it's mechanical, it means forces applied. So it's the world of physics and chemistry. This is what our senses perceive. So let's try to find a little mind breaker here. When you touch your body, you touch your body with your hands. Okay, I'm not saying anything sexual or horny. I'm just talking example like this. Okay? No, joke is not good enough. When you touch your body, no, that's not what it meant. Did you laugh? Okay. When you mess up a joke, you laugh about the fact that you messed it, and people enjoy themselves anyway. So the physical contact you have is signals on your nerve. Okay, so it doesn't happen touching your physical body, doesn't happen on the physical plane. It happens on the vital plane. Because the signals in your body that go to your brain. So it's interpreted then as the touch. Presence. Something is present. Okay? Pressure. So therefore, you have never really touched your physical body with your hands. You have information that tells you that this is your body. And you find that your body is heavy, but actually your physical mass is 10 times denser than any sensation you ever had. Okay? So we're going to study that, because you have the physical plane, and then you have the energy plane, which is the vital body. It's not some kind of mystical energy. It's the electricity, and it's not electricity. It's biocharge, whatever. But the energy in your body, which is also your will. It's where your willpower is, where you can apply force. Okay. Physical mass is there. The sensations you have through your senses, you live them at the vital plane, not the physical plane. Physical plane is the rock that makes your bones. It's the water that makes your blood. It's the mass. The signals that you perceive and interpret are in the vital plane. Higher than that, there's emotional, mental, wisdom, causal, consciousness. It goes up and up until vacuity and all this super cool stuff also. So how dense is the mass of your body? To really understand that, we're going to use a CD called Garima. Pablito, can you write it? Garima. Garima. Make a line. Just to separate it. All right. Garima. That's heavy. That's mass. So, Garima is the heaviest part of us, which is the densest aspect of reality. Okay? And if you want to understand how dense is your body, you have to first accept that every sensation you ever had in your body was on the vital plane. Okay? And your physical mass is denser than that, than what you felt. Okay? You see how a thought is fast? A thought is so subtle. Right? Thoughts go in and out so fast. An emotion stays like a ball. An emotion is denser than a thought. Okay? So we don't have precise measurement, but we say emotions, in terms of density of consciousness, emotions are 10 times denser than thoughts. Because thoughts, they just fly in and out. Emotions, they move, but they're more tangible. The world of willpower, or what is your capacity to affect the world, is on the vital plane. It's 10 times denser than emotion. And 10 times denser than that is your physical mass. Okay, because it goes like this. Thoughts are subtle, emotions denser, life force and will denser, physical mass the densest. Okay, so Garima is the densest, like the end of the line. It doesn't get denser than that, except through another thingamajig I don't want to talk about right now. So that's in nature the heaviest parts of nature, and we have never touched it. We add information that tell us about the physical position, the constitution, the texture, but we've not experienced mass from the point of view of mass. We've experienced our own mass from the point of view of our nervous system, which is 10 times more subtle. You get that, right? All right, this is what we're going to do. We're going to try to feel mass as it is, not from our nervous system, but just by paying attention and becoming conscious about it, okay? So we breathe, inhabit, feel, and observe. It's not necessary to take notes about all these plus 10, minus 10. This is just to put you in context, okay? The physical body is 10 times heavier in its experience than what your senses tell you about it. That's what matters, okay? So when you contemplate Garima, tell yourself that the tangibility, how como duro, okay, how hard is your body. Think about the hardest pain you ever felt in your body. That was your nervous system telling you that. The body is 10 times more powerful. You take the hardest pain you ever had, multiply by 10. That's how intense and dense the physical body is. You take the best pleasure, the best food you ever tasted, the best fabric feeling on your skin, the best orgasm, the funniest laughing trip. Multiply that by 10. That's how dense and powerful the physical mass is. So you contemplate Garima. Every sensation I ever had, my physical mass is actually 10 times denser than that. Garima. And you just observe it. The goal of this practice is to get access to the physical plane, to become more efficient at influencing it. So we have to look at physical mass at its level, and not from the level of our nervous system, which is actually soft. The shape-shifting of the fingers and all this cool stuff we're going to do this afternoon, we want to have access to physical mass, so we contemplate it. Garima. Try to feel how dense is your body by using life experience. 10 times more painful than the hardest pain I've ever felt. 10 times more enjoyable than the most pleasant sensation I have ever had. This is how dense and powerful physical mass is. Garima. Feel the density, the heaviness. Garima. Garima. Dense, heavy, present. Garima. Garima. Breathe. Inhabit your body in the densest level. And just pay attention to it, using your imagination, and you'll feel the depth of the physical world. Garima. Garima. It's easier to do a practice like this after eating because we feel heavy already. But the feeling of heaviness of the food is still your nervous system talking to you. Your physical mass is actually 10 times denser than what you perceive. Garima. I have access to my physical body deeper than what I've ever perceived. Garima. Garima. You do the practice and embrace it. Feel your body. Inhabiting your physical mass. You're not going to be heavier on the scale later. It's not going to make you more heavy. You're simply realizing how dense and heavy you already are. Garima. And that allows your consciousness to penetrate this mysterious wall between the vital plane and the physical plane. Your consciousness can go into the actual atoms, the actual organs. I understand that meditation is not for everyone. It doesn't please everyone. It's okay. I have to give techniques to everyone. All right, take a breath. Relax. Do you feel heavy? Do you feel the density? All right. It's not going to take more effort to stand. Just stand. Just see how dense and heavy your body feels. But you're not physically heavier than before. You're just more conscious of the mass itself. All right, we can sit back again. All right. If you're friends with someone, you want to see that person. If that person likes you in return, then both of you want to be together, you know. But if you don't like your body or don't like this dense world, it's like a friend that hates you. Like, why would you ever hang out with that person? Or if you don't like someone, if you're not comfortable with a person, you don't want to be there. Okay? So one thing that gives us access to physical mass, first, the fact that we never really paid attention to mass on the physical plane. We only pay attention to what we perceive of it on the vital plane. And we don't even realize that. Because actual physical mass does not have nerves. The nerves are physical, of course, send signals. So it's all in the vital plane. So if we always pay attention to our body, but in function of the experience of how it feels to the touch, we're always paying attention to the physical realm according to how it feels and not what it really is made of. Do you get that? If you never pay attention to a person, you will not be able to communicate with them. Okay? So the body, if you don't know how to pay attention to physical mass, and when you do something apparently supernatural, and all you do is focus on what it feels to the touch, and not really what it's composed of, because you can't know. You can't know about physical density if you only use your senses to establish your base of, this is what I'm going to focus on. So all of you who have succeeded transmutation and everything, it works because you did a transmutation on the vital plane, and it sinks and finally affects the physical one. But what if you could go right at the physical plane and produce a change? Then you're much more closer to the actual physical reality you want to affect. Okay? So the practice of Garima is to sit in that deep dense matter that composes you, so you can pay attention to actual physical mass, and you realize there's something heavier and subtle, because with your senses you still just perceive what you perceive. This is the density you have with your nerves. And in the world of mass, there's this heaviness, this dense presence that you can only get through meditation. Because if you get it through touch, it's on that subtle vital plane. Okay? So I know I said it 5 times in different ways in a row, but that's to help all of those who are less acquainted to complex philosophical concepts. Not everyone is used to these complexities, and it has nothing to do with education. It has to do with how you train your mind to think. Okay? Exactly. Good. Practicing Manajava, the mass of my body and my thoughts, my mind, is the same thing. And then we say, Garima, no, it's not. The body is denser. It's like, what the fuck? What are you talking about? Okay. So Garima is to give you access to the densest aspect of that unified experience. Okay? Whatever that means. Zip. Sorry about that. Just saw it. I mean, since I'm not ashamed, I did it on the stage. It's like, yeah, whatever. We're human, right? So, Garima. The more you befriend physical mass, the more access you have to it. And then the more your consciousness can go there and produce the change you want. Garima gives you access to that. Not today, but very often we've done Manasvin, Nivedin, Garima Shanti. You know, that's a technique that a lot of people have. And Garima is in there, and then Shanti. Let's make peace. What if you don't like your body? I mean, sometimes you can say, my body is not to my preference, okay? But you're not going to freak out about it, whatever. But sometimes it's more like hatred. I hate my body, fuck that. You know, I don't like this. This is something I really don't like of my physical shape and mass. Because, you know, a human being as you are, you got caught up with the social standard things that you're supposed to look like this or like that. And, you know, in another society, another world, another time, you'd be the most sought up person ever, and but maybe not today in this culture. It is like this. So you look at your body because of these superficial judgments, and you have an emotion of not wanting that. Do you think it will be easy for your consciousness to reach your physical body and produce a change if you don't want to hang out with that friend? You see, it's this weird thing about whatever you would want the change of the physical realm, you first have to accept it as it is, or else you won't have access to make the change. So judgment is in the way. And we're talking about pride, shame, and fear. Because you were abandoned, rejected, or feel guilty about yourself. 3 denials and 3 emotions. Does that make sense? So you can be unsatisfied with your body as it is, but at peace. Like, this is what I have now. What can I work with? Do I want to work with? Do I want to spend energy to work with that body? But, you know, this is what I got. And make peace with the current state of things, knowing that you can change. If you're stuck with all this anger and hatred and reaction, you're putting an emotional limit. So when you pay attention to your body, some of your consciousness might reach the Garima level, the very dense physical, and some won't. There's a wasted energy, but I hate my body. And that hate we have inside, or that disgust, or sometimes just disappointment, it consumes some of the resource. So some of our fuel is wasted on judging the current state of things. Although we are still not satisfied and we want to change it or make it better. But there are things that just won't change. It's like that. So make peace with it, then you have access. It's paradoxical. It's like, yeah, so I have to love my body so I can change it. And while I don't love my body, I want to change it, but I can't because what? What do we do with this? Well, not be so picky. Maybe resolve a few issues about social standards, superficiality, the shame about our physical body. And that's for you to do the work at home. That belongs to you. Okay? Good. Next step of that class, let's apply what we just learned about if you love your body or not. Let's apply it to your entire life. The things you actually want to better in your life are the things that you're currently not satisfied with. So you can be unsatisfied and not hateful. You could be unsatisfied like, yeah, that could be better, but yeah, okay, I'll do my best with that. Then you have access to it because you're not hateful. But if you're really, really unhappy with certain situations, these emotions are in the way. So it makes it even harder to change it. This is a way that life found for us to have no choice than to go inside and resolve our judgments. And then it gets better. Doesn't get perfect, it gets better. Okay? Perfection right there is a standard also. Perfect is what? According to who? What's a perfect body? Sexy, muscles, young forever? Yeah, I think it's easy to identify that one. Yeah, it's not happening. Yeah, 51, I don't feel 20. It is what it is. So apply it to your life. A case in court. People bring you to court for some reason, or a conflict with the family members, stuff like that. And the way to alter it cannot be done by black magic, because that's just going to ruin you. It doesn't even work. In a sense, if you would want to change the mind of someone else so that the conflict is resolved, that's manipulation. That's not respecting their free will and their own experience as a soul. Can't do that. You have to work on yourself. The conflict with my family members, what am I losing? Prestige, inheritance, presence, pride, the love of my parents. What am I losing? You have to ask yourself, what are you really fighting for, and for what reason? Because your pride got hurt? Because your sibling got more money in the inheritance? What are you losing? What hurts for real? Yeah, sometimes it's more complicated than that. I get it. But, I'm giving examples. What is really hard? Because your children don't really want to listen to you? What are you losing? That's hard for a parent. That's not easy. That's not fun. I was lucky. My kids are super chill. But then again, as a parent, I was not that demanding. It's like, are you alive? All right, keep doing that. Be kind to people and, help your neighbor and stuff like that. And they're just, people love them. Most. So, what is the thing that disappoints you really? What is really your reaction? And could you forgive? Just opinions. Sometimes it's hard to forgive, like, sexual abuse, violence, stuff like that. That's pretty on the edge. Forgiving it does not mean that they're right, That's the thing I say, let's do a parent thesis on forgiveness. Forgiveness does not justify injustice. Someone who physically abused, either sexually or violently, of someone else has to go in a cage, because this is where we put animals, in cages. Forgiveness is not about saying it's okay, what you did was not wrong. It has nothing to do. Forgiveness is saying, I'm hurt because of that event, and I'm tired of being hurt by that event. I'm tired of being hateful and being stuck with that emotion. So I will stop carrying this, and justice must still be done. If we can legally bring someone to justice, do what you have to do it. Do you understand that? Because we have to stop. We cannot allow people who cause suffering to continue causing suffering, especially if it's that abusive. We can't. It doesn't bring joy to the world. That's not a responsible way to bring happiness to all beings. If you got a violent person or a rapist that keeps going on because people forgive him, like, what's the point? Forgiveness is not about justice. It's two different topics. But we don't know that. Forgiveness is justice must be done to alleviate suffering, but my anger is not hurting the other, it's hurting me. You understand that? Forgiveness is understanding the other is not evil, the other is an animal. Primates and wolves. Papa monkey sees mama monkey, jumps. The cats, you see the cats, they bite the collar, impose on the ground, force themselves through the process. And you want to see rape? Look at the Discovery Channel. I mean, look at Animal Kingdom. It's an animal thing. Sometimes a female likes it, sometimes she doesn't. And it just goes. And humans, when they do that, they're just animals. So put them in cages. Like, stop the suffering. Do you understand that? And then offer therapy and counseling to those who were traumatized or affected by that, because it does leave a trace. Okay, it's not always as big as we think, but it does leave a trace. It's not a little thing. Some people are their life screwed because of that. So it's not a little thing. But please try to understand, forgiveness does not justify injustice, and you can forgive someone of anything. A guy took a gun, shot my brother's dead. 3 days later, I hug him in my arms so he could cry, because he was suffering of what he had done. And I was taking care of him. Then I kept doing my own mourning. And he went to jail because it's a fucking murder. Okay? But yeah, I did cross a guy. I hug him. He was suffering. I'm not saying you should do that. I'm saying it's possible. I'm not asking everyone to be a holy person. It's not obvious, but it's possible. And then he had to go to jail because, killed my brother, man. But I'm not going to stay stuck in hatred forever. I was 18 when I went through that experience. So I was already very spiritual, like, all my life, and very personal growth. Like, I take care of my emotions and stuff, and what's important is that he goes, but I'm not going to be stuck with years of hatred. And you know what? My parents did the same. 2 weeks after, just before he was, going to go through the justice process, he asked if he could meet my parents. And they have welcomed him, the murderer, in their house, talked to him, talked to his parents about responsibility and all that. Yeah, my two parents were enlightened. They're not mentally sick in institutions. But yeah, enlightened, caring, beautiful people. I've been raised in that environment, so it's kind of easy. Well, easy, relatively. If I remember the 5 lifetimes that I spoke to my girlfriend, psychologist, like, I can't believe you went through that shit. Yeah, I was not raised in the most peaceful environment. Nonetheless, yes, this stuff is possible. And forgiveness does not justify injustice. We have to stop the suffering. But we're not going to carry this on us. We're going to understand the other is also suffering. If someone had to take a gun and shoot, he's also suffering. Do you understand that? I'm not trying to justify anything about the actions this guy did. When someone you know is very angry at you, do you remember the first question I asked, the first class? When you got angry the last time, did you choose it? So when someone is angry at you, do you think they chose it? It's just a force that rises in them. If that wisdom applies to you, that applies to them. Forgiveness does not mean they should continue to do you wrong or be abusive. No. Justice is also a virtue as much as forgiveness. Forgiveness is understanding where the suffering comes from, that this human hurting you in any way is also stuck with his own conditioning, his own suffering, his own weight, and that's why he's doing that. So I can forgive that, but it has to stop. That's being responsible, because I want to be happy and I don't want to have this person aggress me, okay? If you look at the people that are the most disturbing to you, There are usually people who are just not conscious of nothing. A bit like what Mike was saying. Like, people no fucking conscious. They're, breaking everything. They're not. Yeah, there are people like that. Exactly. I agree. And then we need laws, a good education system, a justice system, and a sense of morality to stop these abuses from happening. Sometimes it's not an abuse, it's just an asshole, at work, and you can't stand him. So can you forgive him? Yeah. He's an animal. Jesus tried to teach this, but it was a last minute call while he was, losing his blood and everything. Is forgiveness, because they don't know what they're doing. Forgive them because they're not even conscious what's going on. There's just forces of nature. So he didn't really have time or a stage or a crowd to take the time to explain, the principles behind it, but that's what he taught in forgiveness. Jesus brought the teachings of charity and forgiveness, and he's a master of charity and forgiveness. And Christians today are so charitable and not forgiving. Oh shit. Usually Christians are not forgiving people. They're very kind and charitable, but forgiveness, like anyone, some are and some aren't. It's not obvious to forgive the unforgivable. But, the murderer of my brother, I took him to my arms so he could cry because he was suffering. I was there for him because it was his moment. Crying that he was so sorry, so hurt inside. I said, look, you have to live your life knowing I forgive you, but now you have to correct your behavior. Yeah, become a good person. You keep going to jail over and over for tons of things, and he stayed in that violent, aggressive world of abuse and illegal. But I don't know now, but at that time, it's like that's how it was. The entire family of this guy. It was a family thing. Everyone was alcoholic, drug addicts, fucked up. It's like, yeah, I forgive you because you're literally unconscious, like using substance to make sure you remain there. And yeah, I joke around the death of my brother all the time because for me it's been a way long time, and it is forgiven. And once in a rare while, I have this wave of tristeza, of sorrow, sadness. Yeah, I miss my brother. Yeah, okay. What am I losing? What can I mourn? Just go in there, feel the loss, keep going. A few years after, I was working at a Subway, and who enters into the shop? That guy. He had just came out of jail. All right. I look at my manager and say, hey, the guy just entered, the last one, I'm making a sub. He says, why? He killed my brother. What? I didn't realize. I was just stating information, okay? I wanted to see how goes he well. Like, how are you? Are okay? Are you reintegrating? Like, I was curious. I made him a super good sub. Yeah. But my manager just froze, like, oh my God, he's going to put a knife in his sub? Like, what? Like, what is this fucking story? Oh, yeah. Like, later we talked, yeah, he took a gun, he shot him. Now he's just out of jail. I wanted to know how he is. She couldn't believe how peaceful and joyful I was to see this guy. I was hopeful of the rehabilitation he had done. He actually looked better. Physically, he was off drugs for a while, at least. He didn't look on. He looked like in charge, like, yeah, I have a job. He actually worked in the same field as me for a while, graphic arts. So, although, the world of graphic arts, I was selling sandwiches at the Subway, just saying. It's when graphic arts started. Everyone wanted to study graphic arts, and now the market was saturated. So, I went to sell sandwiches. And later it was a shoe store, and before the spiritual stuff, right? So yeah, it was pretty freaky for her. It's like, oh, no, it's okay. Like, I've got this. I made him a good sub. I just want to know how he is. Just stay in tune with the news. Keep up, find his house. Set on fire, tonight. Just not saying, no, I'm just kidding. So yeah, forgiving in a holy way is extremely difficult, but it's possible. So let's tune it down from murder, okay? Let's tune it down to something more like someone, took advantage of the situation and I don't know, something heavy, and you don't want to forgive them. Like someone in a divorce took stuff like the dog and the TV, and you wanted to have it, and you can't really forgive that. Something minor and very, like, for me, it's nothing. But for you, sometimes it's like, I can't forgive him. I need to talk to him, and we need to resolve this. If you need to talk to someone before you forgive them, that is not forgiveness. That is negotiating peace to give you back the pride that you lost when it was broken. Forgiveness is at the emotional level the ability to understand where the other is in their evolution and let that shit go. If you need to talk to someone, I'll forgive him, like, let's talk and I'll forgive you. No. If you need to dialogue with a person, that is not forgiveness. You're just purchasing the ego that he stole because you believe you had one. You're purchasing your pride that was broken, because it's not your heart that they hurt when they do this. Like, how dare did he do this to me? Yeah, he broke your pride. When a thief comes to your house, you're not all broken inside because they invaded your privacy. That's what we say, because you feel invaded in your privacy, but deep down is, how dare did that thief do this to me? And our pride is broken. It's pretty hard. That's why you need to talk to the person before you forgive, because you want the person to say, I'm sorry. Okay, at least they regret it. So my pride is back. I was right. He was wrong. I still don't have my TV, but I was right. My image is reestablished. It's not forgiveness. It just smells like forgiveness. But it's not forgiveness. Forgiveness is you doing your process of humility. And it's not obvious. That's heavy, eh? That's dense. I get it. All right. Still have a few minutes to slap another one in your face. Let's talk about humility. You think I'm humble? Ha! I can be more humble than that. That's a joke, right? Get it? That was humor for real. Humility is not shame. In this context where people want to know what's my competence, I'm a spiritual master. I believe I'm a good spiritual master because there's millions of people who have enjoyed what I teach. So it gives me a clue. It's not self-proclaimed. It's through, validation that a lot of people say that. So I will go and say outright, I'm a great spiritual master. I'm not pretentious about it. I'm not hoping to convince you. I'm not trying to build an image. I can just say that, and that is humble, because from my point of view, I'm just stating a fact. The thing is, when you can't just be yourself, you're not humble, you're ashamed. We say, no, don't say no, I don't want title, I don't want people bowing to, no. That's bullshit. If someone comes and bows to me, and I say, no, don't, I don't want this. No, that would be control. This is how they want to love it. This is how they want to live it. And this is how they want to love me. They bow. Some people in Asia, they do the 5-point bow. The 2 knees, the 2 elbows in the forehead, like they fall on the ground. And, great, Maha, thank you. I let them. If I reject that, I just cut it. I build a wall between us. I let them do it how they want it. Then we can talk, and I can start teaching them to stop that. Now I can show them, adore you, not me. I'm good. I adore me. That also is humble. I adore myself. Yeah. It's a great feeling. You should try it. It's just very rich self-love. It's not pretentious, because I'm not hoping for someone else to adore me. That's the thing with pride, is when you want others to be proud of you. I'm proud of myself. That's a good thing. But when you want the others to be proud of you, that's the pride of the ego, the denial. Because pride, there's inside you is good, outside is bad. It hurts, okay? The pride that is broken is when you want others to validate you, to say how good you are. Okay? So when, going back to humility, when you're ashamed, when you don't want prestige, when you don't want someone to say, I love you, that's not humility, that's shame. Someone offers you a gift, oh, you shouldn't have. That's not humility, that's shame. That person is trying to say, I love you, take it. Oh, thank you. You shouldn't have. Of course I didn't have. It's a gift. If they had to, it would be a payment. Like, that's not how it works, Oh, you shouldn't have. Just say thank you. All right, I didn't need it, but now I have it. All right, cool. And that's how it is. You just, no control. Don't expect a gift from someone, because then it's not a gift. They had to. Like, but I have to offer a gift to my parents on Christmas, and that they have to offer. No, I don't. No one does. I don't offer gifts at Christmas ever. Breaks people's mind all the time. No, but I mean, do you remember like the flowers I bought you last year? Do you remember like the restaurant I brought you to? Yeah. So when I want to offer you something, I do, but I'm not submitted to a calendar or something like that. But of course, for social standards, you offer gift in the appointed dates. You can do this, which is fine. But I don't. I give a gift when I can afford it, which is not all the time, and when I feel like it, and when it flows, and I feel good about it, and that's how it is. It's kind of weird, but this is my kind of signature. No, I don't give gifts at Christmas and birthdays. No, on birthdays I say happy birthday because it's convention, but even then, that's my thing, because I don't believe the calendar should dominate how I use my money or my time, and my love should not be so limited to all these human concepts. If I love someone, they know I love them, because it is clear, it's obvious. But it doesn't mean you should be like me. Oh no, you should not be as weird as me. Like, I decided to break conventions like that, but also I established a lifestyle, and people know me, like my parents, my children, everyone knows me, so it's fine. You say, okay, he's one of these fucked up things, okay, whatever. Okay, but if we want to see him in Christmas, we still have to invite him. Yeah, okay, we will, Actually, when I go see my family on Christmas, they're so happy that on that day I just drop by. For them, it's like, oh, he came for Christmas. And for me, it's like, yeah, that's one of those days that I go by. But so everyone has their own thing. So if someone offers you a gift and, oh, you shouldn't have, it's like, of course you're happy with the gift, but all this thing about the shame and you have to pretend that it was not that important, that is not humility. Humility is don't want attention. Don't fear it. Stop controlling the flow of attention. You are simple, just sitting there. Someone offer you flowers. Oh, they're super nice. They smell good. I love them. Thank you. Bam, water, whatever. It's cool. You don't expect it. You don't reject it. You have no reaction. You let it flow. Let the love flow how people want. That's humility. So if someone asks me about my competence in a context where it's supposed to be a spiritual master, I'll say, I'm a good spiritual master. I'm a fucking great one because, I see results. I would never say that in any other context because that would not be humble. If I go to a Christian church, they don't want to hear a Buddhist dude say that they're great with spiritual. They don't want to. No, it's not asked. It would even be turbulent. It would not be cool. It would be arrogant. So that's not humble. I'm not going to say it there. Do you understand what I mean? So I'm not a great cook. I mean, sometimes I transcend the matrix, but that's exceptions. Like in Denmark, I would cook for 45 people for hours and prepare them like luxury restaurant kind of stuff that was super intense and good. And after it was over, I forgot how I did it. But that's when you plug yourself to the matrix. It's like, I know Kung Fu, but now it's like I just cook like that. And then disconnect, and it's like, yeah, I'm good to do eggs. My girlfriend, she says, it's eggs today, you do the eggs. Then everything else is her because, scientific standards. The proportion of times it was good when she cooked compared to the proportion of time when I cooked. Okay, so that's how it is. So I have got my competence, and I'll just say, like when you go to a job, you can't be ashamed. It's like, yeah, well, I got training in this, but you don't want to be pretentious. But the thing is, at a job, it's your responsibility to show off and be clear about your competence. So be simple and just say it. Oh, I'm great at this. This I can learn. I don't know that. Just expose yourself clearly. And then when you're not at your job, don't go telling people, I'm super good at this. Like, if you're good at something, shut up. People will tell you. If you're good at something, don't go, hey, by the way, I'm a great musician. If you're good at something, people will tell you. You don't need to purchase that validation to make sure that they know how great you are as a person. Just be there, yourself, simple. Do you understand that? This is humility. Humility is just there, no control. So it is humble of my part when someone does a adoring bow to the great master, not here because thank God Americans don't do that, and I'm kind of happy. But when I go elsewhere and people do the full adoring bow, they do it. I'm not going to cut the way that they, in their culture, decide to share their love. I'm not going to do that. I'm going to just take it. They go into adoration. First thing I do is I go into adoration of them. I start to adore them as God. That's what I do. They think I'm doing a blessing. I'm just doing exactly what they're trying to do to me. I'm considering them the great being because they need to know how awesome they are. I don't. I'm good. I know how great I am inside. Also, I know I have flaws. But when they need this kind of interaction, he needs to know that he can be a great person if he works on himself. So I'm focused on them. And then I can talk about it. Say, hey, do you love yourself? Oh, no, Maha, great master, guru, please, can you give me a blessing so I stop hating myself so much? So, did you do the meditation? Anyway, do what you have to do, right? I don't often teach in Asia, but I did sometimes. So, humility is so often faked that we forgot what it really is. Humility is talking with a lot of air in your lungs. Namaste, head tilted. We're going to cover all our chakras and, be happy, and pink, yellow magic stones and, fantasy incense to call the fairies to bless our chakras and our souls, and rainbows and butterflies, right? Which is fine. It's a great thing. It's cool. It looks nice. Rainbows and butterflies. I like it. It's natural. It's nature. It's beautiful. Humility is not about faking a tender image. It's just being yourself. So I'm humble right now. Fuck off. No, that's not humble. Like someone who would use my teaching and say, oh no, just be yourself and I'm an asshole. So no, that's not humility either. Overexposing is not humility. And repressing is not humility. Humility is simple. Just be there. It's my role now to play a game. It's a role. I'm playing a role. I'm theatrical. I'm on a small stage. I'm not on this elevated platform because I'm a higher being. No, it's to make it easier for you to see me. It's got a practical sense. Okay, that's the only reason. So that's why when they ask, do you want a stage? Yes, because I sit and it's easier to see you guys. But it doesn't mean anything in terms of authority or value as a being. Does that help? Does it make sense? What is humility? Just be simple. Don't seek attention. Don't reject it. Don't control it. Be grateful when you have a gift. Don't be hateful when you don't have a gift. You offered me nothing this Christmas. Nope. It is a fact. I have offered you nothing. But why? I don't think there's a why there. I think we can just stick to the fact I bought you nothing. That's it. It's just, but why? Why? I don't know. It's like, why does the rain fall when it falls? I mean, because it just does. So I just didn't get you a present. That's it. But what? Like, you don't love me? Oh, that's a you problem. Don't make it my problem. This is a you problem. You've got this. You love me if you show it what matter with physical trinkets. Anyway, the amounts of gifts I've given in my life, don't worry about it. I've given more than for Christmas to count. Good. Let's take 10. What time is it? Yeah, so it's 3:50. See you at 4 in 10 minutes.